So I'm going to show the installation of a usethings coat rack. I've measured out this section of wall that I can install the coat rack on, and at 2.1 metres, so I've built a 2 metre coat rack in our standard increments, the 2 metres closest to that. So we'll go somewhere here. So a timber stud wall has vertical timbers inside the wall that hold the wall up and the plaster is attached to. And we're going to screw right through this into the stud to fix the coat rack. Finding the studs is the tricky thing. The studs will be in this wall, depending on the age of the house, 400, 16 inches apart, but you don't really know where, because they could start closer to this frame and be spaced out. It's kind of luck of the game. So one method to try and find them is to knock. So here is a more solid sound, here is a more hollow sound. So I'm guessing there's going to be a stud around here somewhere. The other way to do it is with a stud finder. So it detects solid material behind the plaster. So as you move that across, it's saying there's a stud there somewhere, about where we thought with our knocking. So I probably want to find 2 or 3 studs. Maybe another one there. So that looks about right. Stud there. Stud there. A bit closer. So put up your rack at about the height that you want it at. Yeah, I'll just measure down from there. So I probably want the fixings in the upper half of the backboard, so somewhere around 210 mil from that picture rail. I'll go back with the stud finder around here. There's my height, about 210. I'm going to mark that. So the markings and any holes you do here behind the backboard will be hidden once your coat rack goes up. So you can sort of make a bit of a mess behind there, especially if you've got to drill a few holes to find the studs. Let's see what else I can find. Just going to drill a test hole first, just to make sure there is some stud material back there. Oh, nothing, missed. Oh, that timber on that one. Missed again. That's why I sort of go lower and see if you can get different readings and get an assessment where that stud might be. Oh yeah, maybe to the left of that hole, second hole. Yep, stud. Maybe to the right of that hole. So here we go. Yeah, timber. So the next thing is to hold up the rack, position it where you want it on the wall. I'm going to go sort of evenly between the corner and this architrave. I'm holding it below the marks, and I'll mark on the backboard where the stud is. So on the top half of the backboard. It's good, you don't want to be too close to the peg, so you don't want to get in the way of the peg. So this is lucky this one's here. I'll have to compromise and slide things around a bit if it's... I've got the rack down on the floor now. And here's the mark we made up against the wall where the stud will be. So we want to drill through there for the screw. The screws we supply with the kit. Also, if you want to hide the head of the screw, you can use the timber plugs that we supply. Now these are 1/2 inch imperial plugs. So what you need is a 1/2 inch hole on this face and then a hole through for the screw to go through. So if you've got a 1/2 inch bit or a 12mm bit, drill that through about 10mm, and then you'll be able to hammer this in over the top of the screw. I've got a bit that incorporates the 1/2 inch plug size and the hole for the screw to go through. So on my mark, again in the top half of this top half of the coat rack is a good place to be. So I can just drill through into there. So my plug hole is about 10 or 12mm deep. I'll be able to hammer the plug in there and hide that. You can see why I need it to be, you don't want the stud close to where the peg is because you won't drill in there, so you're going to have to shift things around and compromise a little bit to get the ideal situation. Yeah, lift this off the floor when you drill through so you don't drill through into the floor. Let's drill the rest of these and then put it back on the wall and fix it. I've selected a drill bit to match the screws that we supply. So just enough to have the thread bite, particularly in hardwood. You only want a little bit of bite of the thread. So the middle hole here, I'll drill right through into the timber ready for the screw before I put the rack up. So I drilled it in deep enough for the screw. Switch over to a driver bit, ready to drive it in. So this is the balancy bit. Sometimes I put the screw into the hole first, and I can hold it up and see where it's going on the wall. Get it started in the hole and drive it in. Not too tight, because you need to check the level before we drill the others now. Set that up nice and level, or if not level, measuring off something else, measuring off the floor. Sometimes you have to just even it up with the eye if the wall's crooked. This wall's actually slightly bowed, so the screws on the outside will be pulling the rack in, but it should work okay. So I've checked that I'm dead on level there, and with the rack in position I'll drill the next two holes. So level, good. Once all the screws are in, you can go along and give them the final tighten either by hand or with the clutch on your driver drill. See how much pressure you need to push in with your drill to get the Phillips head drive to track nicely in the screw so it drives. So level, fixed, pulled into the wall. Alright, let's see how strong it is. Yep, passes the test. Now we'll have a look at the plugs going in. It's used to cover the plugs, cover the screws with the timber plugs. This will be hammered into these holes. So hammered in without any glue. It's just a tight fit that holds them there. So the most important thing is to see the grain of the plug and match that with the grain running along the board. So they just really stand out if the grain's going this way. So I want to get the grain sideways to match the board. So I'll line that up nicely and just tap it in. Okay, leave it sitting out a little high because you're going to shave it off level. So one method is with a sharp chisel, is to just shave it off. Always start high because you're not sure which way the plug's going to break. It may break below the surface. So you can just gently shave it off. Or shave it right off. That just needs some oil to even it up. So it can be a little bit of timber or furniture oil if you've got it, or even just a bit of vegetable oil. Just rub that over there to make it an even sort of colour. The best method is with a plug saw. So this is a saw that has no set on it, so you can just run it exactly on that face and it will slice through the plug and make it level. Now, if something goes wrong with the plug, and we give you a spare plug in the when we supply the rack, what you need to do is drill right down the centre of the plug with about 2 or 3 mil bit, right through the centre, and then drive in a screw very slowly through that hole. So you drill right through there and drive a screw in very slowly. It'll hit the screw head underneath, and it'll as the screw turns, it'll force the plug back out. So that's how you can rescue it